Well, there is one thing that still exists, and we know it exists. It's all around us, and it's problematic sometimes to address, and that is discrimination. Now, there's more than one type of discrimination, as we know. There is the structural discrimination of stairs and non-reachable items and streets that are not accessible, trains, all kinds of transportation discrimination. There is the discrimination that comes from people directly, group discrimination, job discrimination. There is all kinds of discrimination. And, I realize that all of us want to tackle it and erase it from the face of the earth as fast as we can. But as we know, it doesn't work that way. And we have so much work ahead of us. Especially with the new government, there's always issues and struggles and confusion. And sometimes when we run into these issues, sometimes we want to solve it, but we're not the voice that can do it. We have to look for someone to help us, to get the words out, to get the letter out, so sometimes it's not about us. We see it, but we're not the ones to express the need to eliminate XYZ. Sometimes we can, but if you feel like I see it, I experience it, but I cannot find a way within me to solve it by myself, and that is okay. We are stronger in groups, we are stronger in committees, we are stronger in organizations to speak against discrimination. Discrimination has been around us for a very long time, and it is time in this modern age to eliminate it. But I think we are more effective. I think we are more effective as organizations and committees than one voice. Now, sometimes we are very successful. A person just speaks out in terms of, I have a friend who's in this apartment and he has a need for this and this and this. Can you repair this? Can you bring this down? Can you take this cabinet away? Can you, based on the rules of, based on this statute, based on this, based on the ADA, et cetera, et cetera. So sometimes we need one person to help us, and their voice, their letter, their work can bring down the barrier. Sometimes we can do it together, myself and a friend. We put the letter together, we put all the statutes in there that correspond to the obstacle in my apartment, and we bring down the obstacles. I'm sure all of us have experienced discrimination at one point by people or by transportation. Transportation by this time, they should have figured out that we are also a source of funds. And if they work towards making themselves or company accessible, then we wouldn't be whining and complaining. Some people call it whining. I call it making sure the law is followed. Because it is a law. The ADA is not a suggestion. It's not a suggestion, folks. It's the law. Now, some organizations can get around it by saying, well, we were built before 1991, yada, yada, yada. But you got to look at the laws a little bit closer because it just depends. Laws are not black and white. There are some gray areas. So consulting a lawyer who specializes in the ADA is a good idea. They love listening to situations in which things are not the way they should, and they'll go after it. So, discrimination, it's going to happen. Whether you just started using a wheelchair or whether you've been using a wheelchair for a long time, you're going to hear it and you're going to see it. And that is where a voice from somewhere needs to come out and say, hey, that is not right. Then you've ignored the ADA. We have the same rights to use your trains. We have the same rights to use your taxis. We have the same rights to use the bus in the city. We have the same rights to get an apartment for it to be accessible. We have those rights now. So if we stay quiet and we don't say anything and we don't write letters and we don't go to the committees, then nothing changes. I need you as much as you need me. And if we get together as organizations to make sure that the ADA is applied in the different areas of our city, of our county, and our state, things will be better. It's going to take work, a lot of work. And you're part of the world, too. We are lucky here in the United States, but, people are not so lucky in other parts of the world that are not industrialized yet, and they don't have those laws in place. The culture, the people don't understand disabilities. They see it as a negative. They see it as a sin to a certain degree. They see it as an obstacle, a bother. So, in those countries, it's even more difficult to fight against, the ideology that exists. We could contribute so much. There was one person from, I think, Turkey who came on here, and he was a teacher, and someone had stole his wheelchair. And he wanted to go back to teaching. So I looked up some agencies in his area, and I said, as soon as you can, please go to these agencies and say, hey, I am a working person, I am a contributing person, I am a teacher, and I want to go back to teaching, but someone took my wheelchair. Can you help me? So he would have much more trouble and struggles than we would here over in the U.S. That was a sad situation. He came to us for some help. Discrimination doesn't exist just here. It exists everywhere. And we need to be attentive to that. It's not easy, folks. But let's not lose hope. Let's not lose our strength. And let's keep on the ball. Let's keep on the ball, because when we make something better, we make it better for all of us. All of us in wheelchairs or anybody with a mobility issue, we make it better for the next person and the next person. So there's a big positive when we fight for improvement of transportation, of the attitude of doctors and clinics and hospitals towards people with disabilities, you know. I had a situation in which I was in the hospital that I go to a lot, and I was coming from an appointment, and I got in the elevator to go downstairs, and the elevator got stuck, and it kept on doing this. You know, it was stuck on something, and it was scaring the bejeebers out of me. And so I said, well, I need to call. And so I opened the little door to the phone, and it was just a regular phone. So I knew I wasn't going to hear anybody because of my hearing impairment. I wasn't going to hear anybody on the other end. I thought, I got to do something before this elevator kills me. So I called, pressed the little red button there, and someone answered, and I heard, I said, this is so-and-so. I'm a patient in the hospital. I'm on XYZ elevator on XYZ floor, and the elevator is just bouncing. It just won't go down, and it's really scaring me. So somebody needs to get up here ASAP, you know. And I said, listen to this. So I put the phone, and so they could hear the jerks of the elevator. I said, this is not right. And so they said, and I'm like, ma'am, unfortunately, I'm also deaf. I can't hear you at all. So I'm just reporting this. I cannot hear you at all. So it doesn't matter how much you scream, doesn't matter how much you jump up and down. I said, all I can do is to call you to inform you what floor it is, which elevator it is, and which patient it is. It's getting scared here. So I'm going to hang up now. Send your people up here and fix this elevator. And I hung up. Oh, it was so frustrating. But I had to wait and see if the elevator would stop jerking, correct itself for me to get out from the floor. And at one point I was able to get the elevator, the door to open. And of course it was, you know, it was a big difference between the floor and the elevator, but I was able to crawl out. And I just announced to a couple of people, don't get in that elevator. It's broken. But that was a very scary situation. And even more scary because I couldn't really talk to the person. So I was pretty mad. I think I contacted the administration or maintenance. I think that's who I contacted later. What on earth? How often do you service these elevators? So once I have my caption phone. So it's awful because it can cause us a lot of harm, the discrimination. You know, I could have been in that elevator for hours, you know, just waiting for, I don't know who. So, you know, gosh, it is just a very difficult situation, discrimination. And we need to continue to battle against it every turn, every opportunity we have. So that is what I wanted to share. If you'd like to share your story, either by email at worldwheelchairwarriors@gmail.com, and I can make a video about it, or if you want to add your little story in the comments down below, feel free to do that. I don't think I've made a video about discrimination before, but I think that discrimination in general is just important to talk about, just to continue to think about how we can target it and make things better in our city, in our county, in our state or province or country. So let's think about it. What are your thoughts in terms of making things better? What drives you crazy? What drives you crazy? Anyhow, feel free to look at the video down below. If I have another video about discrimination, I will post it down below. If not, I'll let the computer post one for you, and I will see you all, guess where, in the next video.